Recognize that intro? It's not really an intro, but it's kind of a little vamp that Kris Kristofferson starts off his song, The Pilgrim, Chapter 33, with. Now, he's played this in a lot of different keys with a lot of different people and lots of different things. We're going to take a look at mostly how it was done on his second album, The Silver-Tongued Devil and I, which is also one of my favorite songs of his, by the way. And I'll probably get to that soon, too. Great tunes on this album. So there are a lot of live versions out there. The chord progression, it's very typical of most of his songs. Starts off in one key. It's usually a 1-4-5 progression, sometimes with a secondary dominant, as is the case here. Little descending bass lines going from G to E minor, pretty much. And then the song, typical of a lot of country songs and a lot of Kris's songs, like Me and Bobby McGee, also modulates up a whole step going into the second verse just to create a little bit of diversity and keep their interest going. But this is a really, really basic song, and so I really kind of, I'd encourage you to try to figure it out first by just listening to it. We got chords in the key of G, which means we're going to use G, C, and D. You could throw in a 7 on the D chord, but we're really just going to talk about a very simple picking pattern that he does in the beginning, playing bass notes, alternating back and forth. So all I'm doing here is on this G chord, playing a bass note on beat 1. Now I would think of these bass notes as half notes. We're really feeling 2 beats to a measure. Cut time, 1, 2, 1, 2. If we were counting quarter notes, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's going on in there? I'll break that part down right here, because this is really the only distinct thing that happens in this song. So he's hitting the first bass note, the G and the bass, and then either brushing the strings on beat 2 or the second quarter note, or just plucking them as an up. And so a lot of Kris's normal right hand technique, if he's finger picking, would be just doing that. Bass with the thumb, up with the fingers on the and, or on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what he does in the very beginning, when he starts talking about the people that he started writing this song about and things on the studio version, is starts just like that, hitting the bass note on 1, and then on the second bass note, hammers on both of the notes from a C chord, the E on the 4th string and the C on the 2nd string. But he never hits that C on the 2nd string very distinctly, so you just kind of hear it in the background. And then brings in the open G string on what would be the 4th quarter note beat. So if we're counting quarter notes, it'd be 1, 2, 3, and 4. But the C that we hear there is kind of just a ghost thing. We don't hear this, where I'm plucking the whole thing, and you hear that C on the 2nd string really distinctly. So it's very subtle, and then on the studio version, he keeps that going, or whoever's playing the guitar keeps that kind of going throughout the first couple of Gs, the first few measures of G, and then we'll talk about passing bass notes leading to chords and some things like that. So we'll take a look at the chord progression and the little variations that happen in the next couple of segments. But really just encourage you, so I do have tablature to that, just those 2 measures. And in the second time around, he doesn't grab the whole chord, he just grabs maybe the 2nd string. That makes that hammer on the C a little bit more distinct, because we're not hearing the other 2 strings at the same time. Hitting the G and the bass on 1, the B, the open B string on 2, the hammer on, the double hammer on, and then the G, the open G string on beat 4. So that's the whole 4 measures I have in my tablature. Then just the B string, and then he goes into singing the song. So we'll start exploring the progression and everything else in the next segment.